Let's go! Tournament number 7. The qualifiers continue, everybody. We have the X Cup Summer qualification tournaments. First round today, and you can already see the Donuts are playing. So that's kind of noteworthy because the Donuts have so far only participated in a single qualification tournament. The whole beauty of the system is that teams don't have to participate in all of the tournaments. They can, gives them a bit of an advantage, but if they don't have enough time, if there's some people missing, if someone is on vacation, you can always skip a couple. And the Donuts have done exactly that. So what they've pretty much done is they participated in one tournament, they came in second place, which granted them 7 points for the leaderboard. And since then, they haven't played anymore. And last week, after the 6th tournament, they dropped out of the top 8. And since only the top 8 go to the playoffs, they needed to step it up a little bit, and that's what they're playing today. But the interesting part about all of this is that as you're heading into a tournament, obviously there's teams that are being seeded. Being seeded just simply means that normally you're taking the top 4 teams out of the ranking and you're positioning them in different parts of the bracket so that the top teams don't face off against each other in the first rounds. But since the Donuts haven't really played in a lot of tournaments, they're currently only seeded 9th. So they are currently playing in the first round against the Vile Kings, but whichever team wins here and moves on to the second round will immediately face off against Team Wa, who is currently second place just after the Hardos with 37 points on the board. And that's a little bit of a gatekeeper situation here for the Donuts. So if they really want to accumulate a lot of points today and push their way back into the top 8, they need to go past Team Wa. And if they can do that, that is something that we might find out in the second game of the day. Always, of course, assuming that the highly favored blue team is able to take the Vile Kings down. Then again, this is a best of 1, and in a best of 1 there's a lot of stuff that you can happen. You make a wrong call in the late game, in a team fight, you get wiped and your opponent has a chance to go for the core, they'll do that. Tomb of the Spider Queen is our map, and there's obviously a lot that you can try and pull off here with boss calls, with good stacking, mercenary camps on top of spiders, and so on and so forth. Now when it comes to the pick, Tai with an immediate Vala pick here. We could see that coupled either with the double support, maybe with the Zarya. So there's a lot that they could try and play out here. When it comes to bans, we have again a ban on Zagara. So she's been banned pretty much consistently ever since the patch. We see her every now and then making it through the draft or through the bans and then being picked very, very early on. The counter from the Vile Kings is Blaze and Sylvana. So we have both of them immediately put on the board, with now Leo coming through and Ixia playing Ana. So already Leori coming in, the janitor, trying to clean house here. Bot lane in particular. And there's the Uther ban. Now again, the double support is something that you're a bit worried about when you're looking at a Vala on the other side. This double support setup has been something. But the interesting part is that Tai is actually one of the few players. He is the player that brought Vala, I mean, that must have been 1.5 years ago, back into the meta. At that point, nobody played Vala. That was before she was addressed in multiple patches. But even back then, she was very, very, very squishy. And Taya was pretty much the only player that, back then with Lauber's fanboys, played Vala consistently. Started to play her again, and didn't even rely on a double support behind it, but simply played her solo. And did it so well that she was slowly brought back into the meta, at least to an extent. And that was pretty cool. Since then, a lot of things have happened with Vala. She's been reworked slightly. Her hit point pool has also been buffed, so she's quite strong. But at the same time, you can still target her very quickly, which is why most teams try to set something up with a double support for her and make this happen with the sustain that those then offer. But as we're heading into the double pick, let's see what we're going to get. The blue team, obviously, with a chance to lock in the Zarya pick. Exactly. As highlighted earlier, she is a very good option, especially for this team. And we get Tyrael together with her, so that's a lot of shields already for our girl. Genji gets picked on the other side. We got Anduin and Johanna too. And that sets us up for game number 1, everybody. Well, for the only map in the first round here, Tomb of the Spider Queen, in the match between the Donuts and the Vile Kings. The Donuts against the Vile Kings. Skog on Zarya on the right side of the map. We got Ixia playing Ana in today's first game of the tournament. Lauber is playing Tyrael. We We have Svamkarota on Leoric, and Tai is playing Vala. So a pretty decent setup. Your Vala is the only damage dealer from afar. Well, it's not quite true. Zarya obviously can also pack a real punch here. And we'll see how much damage Skok is able to bring to the table. But Tai is going to be the one that they're really... They want to put into a position so that they can dish out most of the damage. On the other side, Onyo on Blaze, we got Freaks on Johanna, Cass on Genji, White Tiger on Anduin, and Kea on Sylvanas. And on level 1, already our boy with the Agile Dismount right there. We got the Neural Stim Pack in. And yeah, it's party time. We're going to keep our eye on Tai for most of the game, I would assume. He loves to play his Vala and he gets the chance here. Might be banned out in future games. That's what we've seen last tournament at least. Vala was targeted a lot, either picked early or targeted in the bans. And Ixia of course needs to keep all of these boys and girls alive. And here Yonana might be a bit of a target for Genji of course. Having a mobile assassin like Genji, being able to dive into the backline, do some work there, is always kind of nice. Ixia is already staying mounted as much as he can. The huge advantage of the blue team is of course that they also have shields to rely upon. And for Vala in particular, that's going to be great. Both teams heading straight up for the camp after the 1 minute mark. So we're gonna have some bruisers move through the mid lane. Should be an even clash between the two since the red team is doing the exact same thing. The Vile King is currently setting up here. Top side, we still have Skok trying to get some gems together. That sets the pace for the day. Now, whichever team wins here, as already mentioned in the draft, is gonna move on to the second round to face off against Team Wah, who are second place in the leaderboard. And that is a tough match. No matter who advances here, that's going to be a really, really difficult game. Because those boys have been doing exceptionally well and are also starting to threaten the Donuts to still find themselves in the #1 position. But the question is, of course, always for how much longer. The goal is always to make it to the playoffs and to also get a good seeding for the playoffs. And the red team has exactly the same thought. They want to get a few more points here today, but they lose Blaze early on. Everybody is low. The shield's really working well now for the blue team, and it helps them to dive even a little bit deeper as Tai locks in the second kill with Vala, takes down Jojo. The front line destroyed. The Donuts once again successful in the early game, and they are pressuring the mid lane even further now. We have on level 4 the speed barrier for Zarya. Pretty much what you would expect, but it also allows them to put Tai into a position where, especially with all the hatred stacks, he is going to have some incredible movement speed he can utilize to reposition himself within the fights, get some good angles there, and also keep himself safe, of course. Now, Zarya has moved down to the bottom of the map, starting to go for the Siege Giants. And Tai is still stacking. Wants to get the full angle. There's a chance, of course, to take down those spiders and maybe also connect the multi-shot, but you want to get those spiders a little bit closer, can get those gems together. At the bottom of the map, they took the Siege Giants, and now they're setting up a big push with 3 heroes pushing already, and Vala moving in too. So with the help of the Siege Giants, you can do some solid damage here, and that's exactly what they're doing. So a great composition that allows them to rotate and siege up on a lane with all the shields and sustain that they hold here, and they are putting it to the test at the bottom of the map with huge success. Oh, they could even get a kill maybe. They're trying to go for Sylvanas. Not so quick. Caster comes in with a swift strike, has to jump out again with the trade, but at least keeps them off Sylvanas for the time being. Now, that didn't change the fact that the entire wall just got destroyed. The early level 7 is of course only one of the rewards that we see now for the Donuts. They also have access to the turning point, which they're already using, and that allows them to maybe even get the first objective. They're incredibly close, 46 out of the 50 that they need, so another 4 and they take it. And since we have the turn happening right now, Skog is locking in the first web weave away for the team. On level 7, as the Vile Kings lock in their next talent, we have the augmented guard. But I'm a little bit worried about the bot lane. That fort could... I think this one is gonna get dropped. Unless, of course, there's a counter kill now. Svamgrotta gets attacked, but he doesn't activate the trade value with the Leoric just yet. Yeah, it's not turning into Leorki anytime soon, as it seems. The blue team is stacking up at the bottom of the map, though, and that's going to be the fort for sure. Lulba has apparently disconnected, so we have the Tyrell bot in play. No kill, by the way, against the against the Donuts just yet. So, yeah, Lauba apparently disconnecting here, as it seems. But that gives us a chance to, well, no, it doesn't give us a chance to go over the situation on the map, because he's already back. No matter what the disconnect was, it was a short one. But the situation right now is that the fort at the bot lane is already destroyed. In the mid lane, we got the defense. Up here at the top, Leo was pushing and escorted the Web Weaver straight towards the gate. But you can tell that the blue team doesn't even give a shit about this. They are just moving down to the bottom of the map, and they're saying, boys, if you don't defend this, we're gonna take your wall at the keep already. And that is a pretty big win here, right off the bat. They wouldn't have had a chance to take a fort down. At least it wasn't a realistic chance. Maybe if they got a few kills together with it. But that is already good damage at the bot lane. That's also the lane where we could later on see additional Siege Giant camps push. And of course, there's catapults that also have to be considered now, since the first fort has been taken down. In the mid lane, the wall has been lost too. And yeah, it's a great start in this first game for the Donuts. And they also need to make this work. I mean, they may need to make a little bit of a statement here. They want to go deep in the tournament. They only participated in a single qualifier where they took second place. And if they really want to position themselves in a good spot for the playoffs, then they need to accumulate a couple of points today. Qualifier number 7, so there's only a few more that you can participate in after this. But yeah, the Donuts should be very motivated to participate in a few more and go far. Because if you are in the top 4 of the leaderboard, you start in the winner bracket of the playoff tournament. If you, on the other hand, start in the bottom 4 of the 8 teams that move on to the playoffs, then you start your journey out in the losers bracket. Which means that is a lot less forgiving, of course. Level 10 abilities are in, and that gives a massive power spike to the Donuts, and they're trying to use it to force a battle in the mid lane as they're coming in with another Entomb, but couldn't really accomplish too much with it. And now the Vile Kings, they got their own level 10. Light Bomb with a Falling Sword, and Genji obviously could be used with a Light Bomb too. So that's a lot of aggression for the potential backline to take care of. And Anna might be in trouble, but first of all, they're setting all of this up against Lauba. Drops the Sanctification over here. Zarya with the ult too. And that was a pretty good dodge on all of the damage. Nice move by Blaze with the jet propulsion here. Caster makes it out. And nobody died for the Donuts, but I gotta say, you could already see how dangerous this setup is. You go in with a Light Bomb Genji and stun the targets out, and it allows Johanna to connect her hits for sure. And that is going to do absolute work later on in the game, I would assume, if you get a good combo. Also talking about that bot lane, as I mentioned previously, those Siege Giants will do work, and they just did exactly that. They opened the wall up, and that exposes the keep. Another turn-in opportunity, 9 gems for Tai, and there it is. The blue Web Weavers, they get confirmed again. Uh-oh, the Entomb and Genji and Jojo are both jumping out. Now that's a positive cooldown trade for... not really. Yeah, the cooldown trade is actually dead even for Leo and for Jojo. So right now the mid lane is getting attacked, and this is all happening before the Web Weavers are even touching ground. But as you could assume, this fort in the mid lane, likely not gonna make it. Leo is pushing the top side out, and someone needs to deal with the bottom of the map, or the keep is gonna take damage there. And now we have 29 stacks for Tai, 24,000 damage for him, 21,000 for Sylvanas. And Leo is still escorting this through, and that fort at the top lane is not looking good. Svamgrotta is moving in to ensure that it's really falling. Whereas in the mid lane, Tai is still dishing out some damage, but at least the Web Weavers have been taken down. So a good step from the Vile Kings into the right direction. They still gotta defend the bot lane here, which they do, but they lost control over the top as the fort was taken out, and the blue team is still pushing this a bit further. Now, mind you, we only had 2 kills in this entire game, but those 2 kills were all that the Donuts needed to establish more than 1 level lead over their opponent. And they're looking at a very good setup on structures, as they now have taken down forts on every single lane. Not a single one is left, not a single fountain is left either. And they've opened up the gates to attack keeps directly. So this is a nice position. And also a very dangerous one for the Vikings. If they lose control of the game at any point, then a push for a keep is pretty much inevitable. They need a good combo with ults and need to make this setup with Jojo and Genji jumping into the backline work. And we got a sneaky play for the boss already. So, right now the Donuts with Sanctification and everything else that they have start to make a play for the top boss. Thankfully for the red team, that was sniffed out more or less immediately. And the Donuts might abandon the idea, but they're looking for the Entomb again, I suppose. As Leo is coming through. They could try to set something up here. Svamgrota. Yeah, the problem is always that Bunker is, of course, a nice tool against it. And a lot of the other heroes have mobility that could be used here. They go for Lulba. And that might be a dead Tyrael. Nope. Lauba so far is not really in too much trouble. Instead, it is Genji that is really in pain. And he gets obliterated. A nice double Entomb by Svamgrota. 1 kill, 2 kills, 3 kills, and they go for the quad. The mace to the face from Leo drops Sylvanas. She's down, and that is full on map control for the Donuts now. They are eating the Vikings alive. The Donuts with sprinkles here today. And moving top side for the boss play. They have 53 gems, so technically they can try and go for boss plus web weavers. And to make matters worse, with the Vikings losing in total 6 heroes throughout the game, they have also lost gems. And that makes it much, much harder for them to get back into this. One of the big questions, or one of the big assets that you oftentimes have, even when you're on the losing end of the game, is as long as you can, keep the gems in your possession, pick them up when the hero dies and drop some. You should be able to make your way back into the game with consecutive turn-ins, but that is not happening here. The Vikings have to fall back and they give up the mercenary camp too, so very good invade from the Donuts, and now there is pressure just everywhere. Bot lane, multiple catapults have already set up, so we got 2 catapults and a double wave coming in with the third one already joining up. Jojo is being forced out once again. Leo coming in, the janitor dropping the bathroom. Jojo realizing she's in the wrong one, jumped out immediately. And the keep is taking damage. The top keep, by the way, has also taken damage, but the boss has at least been defeated. So they're not quite able to take the keeps down yet, but you can see that the pressure is starting to really mount up here. Yeah. So yeah. Up towards the top right now. What do we get? We have like a turn-in attempt, I should say, by the Vikings. But nope, not really. Now, I'm a little bit worried about these keeps because we have every single lane pushing now against them. The issue for the Vikings is on the one hand they want to turn in, on the other they have to deal with those catapults and the lane pressure. And this isn't happening, which means that at the top the keep is taking even more damage once that this moves forward, which it definitely will. They are interrupting Jojo again from turning in. There's another camp at the bottom of the map too, but that's a beautiful kill. Nicely done by Sylvanas in particular, who came in with a silence and ensured that Tyrael couldn't drop his ult. Now they're going for Ana, Ixia, and he dies. Ixia is down. He's eliminated. The blue team has turned in, and the web weavers will be descending, and they're going to spawn on the right side of the map. Blaze is also down, and the fight isn't over yet. They go for Svamgrota, but look at that bot lane. This is going to be the end of the keep. Genji has just fallen, so more heroes of the Vikings are dying. The web weaver at the top, they're going to lose every single keep here. I don't see a chance for them to stop this. Look at Tai, he's just diving after them, trying to take them down. He's already at 48,000 damage. 47 gems, and Jojo dies. The keep at the bottom of the map is low. The one at the top is about to fall. The same is happening in the mid lane. And they are going to make a game for the core, or a play for the core right now. 10 kills to 2. And the Donuts with a very, very good performance in this first game of the tournament. as they are moving in to take the core down. Nicely done, 50,000 damage for Vala. And yeah, the blue team, they move on. They move on to the second round of the 7th qualifier, where they will face off against Team Wah. GG and well played. Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV. Okay, the first real test today. This is the interesting one, guys. This is now really interesting. Now, I talked about this in the previous game, the first round, where the Donuts played against the Vile Kings. They find themselves in a very interesting situation as we are now here in the 7th qualifier for the X Cup Summer. Now, as already explained in previous tournaments, the whole system here is based around the idea that the teams can participate in as many of these qualification tournaments as they want. And, well, if you then perform well and you go far in the tournament, you get quite a lot of points. Those points are being accumulated through all of the qualification tournaments, and you find yourself in a leaderboard. The top 8 of the leaderboard make it into the playoffs, and in the playoffs you play for 4,000 euros of prize money. So a fair amount of pizza money there. And with that in mind, the teams have been playing very consistently in the qualifiers, but there's a couple of exceptions. There's teams that only participated in a couple, there's teams that formed a bit later. Team WA is actually a very good example of a team that didn't participate. I think it was in the first 3 or 4 tournaments, and then formed as a team and said like, alright, let's play together and let's participate here. The Donuts, on the other hand, they find themselves in a very interesting spot too, because right now they only participated in a single tournament. And that had 2 effects. First of all, they just after the last qualifier dropped out of the top 8 because other teams just gathered up points as they didn't. And also, because they dropped out of the top 8 in the leaderboard, they are not a seeded team, which means they are facing off against Team WA in the 2nd round here already. So this is a bit of a gatekeeper situation that we have, which makes this incredible. I mean, this is a bit insane. We're in the 2nd round of the tournament, and these two already face off against each other. And the Donuts only have themselves to blame for that situation. But of course, if they can push past Team Y, that would be incredible too, because the blue team is currently 2nd in the leaderboard, just behind the Hardos. So it's a pretty cool setup here. Now, when it comes to the bans and also the picks, the first thing to highlight here is that we immediately have an early pick into Vala again. And in the first round, the Donuts already played on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and they played with Vala as their first pick. Now, back then, they played around Tyrael, Zarya, and were trying to get those shields in. And I mean, technically, they could still lock a few of those elements in if they wanted to. But this is a highlight. This is really cool right now. Because if the Donuts lose, they still get 1 point because they made it into this round. But that's not really a whole lot, and it's very likely not going to be enough for them to stay in the top 8. So they will have to participate in more qualification tournaments, which they might have planned anyways, but it would make things a little bit more difficult for them. Very similar setup again to what the Donuts already played in the previous round. So the Leoric gets used for the bot lane once more, and we have Zarya to help out Ty with his Vala to stay alive, which is another one that they're going to do now. And yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very hyped for this one. When I saw the bracket today, I looked at the possible 2nd round matches and I was like, whew, spicy. First of all, it was cool to see that the Donuts are playing here again, but at the same time, the 2nd round match was like, there's a lot of fireworks in the air on this one. Yeah, the Hardos find themselves in the other side of the bracket, which is obviously the whole idea behind seeding. Just in case that some people are not familiar with that, seeding pretty much means you're taking the top teams that sign up for a tournament, usually based on a leaderboard, as in our case, and you ensure that they find themselves in different parts of the bracket so that the top teams don't face off against each other in the early rounds. But again, since the Donuts have not participated in a lot of tournaments, they're 9th place now, so that doesn't do a whole lot for you in regards to the seeding, and the consequences you can see directly ahead of you, in front of you. Okay, so Karrigan gets banned out. That's probably a good choice here, because Ultralisk on the other side has a pretty terrifying Karrigan too. It's not only Nick that can play Karrigan on the European server. Garrosh gets banned, just the off chance that we're going to see a Zarya and Garrosh composition for the good old plays. That, by the way, Lauber's fan club back then brought in. Lauber's fan club, obviously, at some point then, I mean, the team kind of switched. So we have them now with still the core players being on the Donuts. Urel gets played. And we got Dino on Coffin Girl. Okay. Ophia is in the house. And let's see the last 2 picks for the red team. So, what are they getting here? Tyrael again and Ana. The exact same lineup. They play the exact same lineup that they played in the previous round. And guys, Team Wa had one advantage. They didn't have a first round opponent because they were in that awesome spot where they could just observe. So they saw, very likely, the previous game. They could watch it on stream. They could just chill, hang out, and talk about this and look at the next opponent. They've seen this comp in action. So they could have at any point banned an element out, picked something away, and they didn't. And now they lock in Kira. Alright, alright. Tomb of the Spider Queen, everybody. I'm hyped. This should be good. We have Team Wa against the Donuts, everybody. Let's go. Tomb of the Spider Queen. Who moves on to the next round of the 7th qualifier for the X Cup Summer? On the left side of Tomb of the Spider Queen, we have in blue Dayquaza for Team Wah Wah. With Urel, we got Dino on Ophia, the Crybabies, with Zelia on Nubarak, a man of many talents. Ultralisk on Kira, and Azerite is playing Stukov. Skog on Zarya for the Donuts, the exact same lineup that they played against the Vile Kings in the previous round. Ixi on Ana, Swamgrotta on Leo, we got Tai on Vala, and Lauba is playing Tyrael. One change already, one significant change when it comes to builds, and that is that Tai just locked in the puncturing arrow, and I'm a little bit surprised by that. On this map, a wave clear oftentimes reigns supreme. I did not expect that at all. Oh, and that looks like a kill. Yeah, Zarya's down already. The blue team, they're coming in with a big statement, and they take down Zarya. But at that point, you gotta ask yourself, is that a bit of a misclick, or what exactly happened here? Tyrael is dead too. No matter what it was, they are not off to a good start. They lost 2 of their heroes early on. Now, some might say that in an actually high-stakes game, Lauba needs to die early, or it's a bad omen. But now, as we're heading into the earlier stages here, the control over both of the turning points has, of course, been lost to a certain extent. There's a bit of a lead and experience too. And here comes the setup against Zarya again, and she nearly doesn't make it. Ophia currently hitting like a truck, which makes perfect sense. I mean, that coffin is heavy. As the old joke goes, Ophia has the hopes and dreams of Heroes Esports and HGC players in that coffin. So as you can imagine, that thing is very, very heavy, and you can hit hard with it, like really hard. So that's exactly what she's currently doing. Gets reflected in the damage. We got Leo a little bit more, gets the drain in against Urel at the bottom of the map, and is farming some damage on this one. But yep, up towards the top. Let's go. Another wave already taken down to the bottom. The first turn-in attempt. But we also have the Bruiser camp getting attacked. And that's where the blue team is setting a push to the mid lane up. Just a little bit later than the red team. So slightly delayed, which allows them now to use their towers to an extent also for the defense, which is pretty nice. Like, I mean, this is about as perfect as it gets. The towers are just in range. They don't take damage, but they help with the defense. And then their camp is going to push. So that is just a fantastic setup from the blue team. I mean, look at this. Everything is dying. Towers chipping in. Their own camp is nearly at full HP. They can move through now. And this push in the mid lane is perfectly timed. It doesn't get better than this. It was very well done. They played around the Donuts camp, and now they have a chance to do some damage with their own. That's exactly what they're aiming for. Level 4 abilities are by now in for both. Skog gets body blocked. He goes down. Swamgrotta also dies. 4 kills to 0. And Team Wow, ladies and gentlemen, pushing through that mid lane, dropping one tower after another. They might even get the fort if this continues. What the hell? That is crazy. Yeah, Azurite might die, so there it is, finally, the first kill for the Donuts. But do they pay a price? Because Tai is already low. It's Ixia that keeps him alive with one pew pew after another. But they're turning it on Ultralisk, and that might be a kill. No, it's not. They heal. Well done. They're keeping them alive here, so that was a good one. 4 kills to 1, regardless. We got 8 stacks now on level 1 for Vala. Obviously going straight into a continuation of that build with the level 4. Yeah, but there is still a half-level lead. And with a talent advantage, getting that turn in, maybe even getting an earlier level 10, would be kind of nice for them. I gotta say that Azurite is also doing so far a fantastic job on his Stukov. I mean, he has a bit of a problem in the last battle where he got isolated and killed. But he is isolating them real nicely around these nooks and crannies over here, especially when we have those choke points that lead towards the turning points. He always seems to be in the right spot for that. Level 7 talents are kicking in for both now. And the blue team is getting the first web weavers in. They are trying for a kill, and they get it. Heavy attack against Leo, diving past the gate and taking the janitor out. It's nasty. I gotta say that... whew, blue team is stepping it up big time. I mean, oh boy. Yeah, they came in prepared. I was a little bit surprised, you know, that they did not even try to ban any component out of the composition that the Donuts were using in the previous match. But they just simply said, you know what, guys, if that's really what you want to play, by all means, go for it. We are not afraid of it one bit. If you try to play that again, we're going to rip you a new one. That's exactly what we're getting here. Frost shot on level 7 to slow the onslaught a little bit. And, I mean, what? The fort in the mid lane is down. Ana at the top is dead. 7 kills to 1, 1.5 level lead. And we go for fort number 2. At the bottom of the map, they go for Vala. They drop her as well. Gems are lost all over the place. And the Donuts, they're getting eaten alive. Sprinkles and all. So, yeah, they are getting absolute crushed here. Level 10 abilities are in. That gives Team Wa even more control over the map. And they are absolutely dominating this one. I mean, guys, we are seeing all 3 forts eliminated with the first objective. That's how bad this is right now. He even used his ult. They want the structure so bad, Ultralisk just used his ult for it. This is insane. This is insane. They make this look like a quick match. It's ridiculous. They're going up against the Donuts. That is absolutely nuts. So, I don't know, but at this point, they're taking everything. Yeah. They're stealing their camps, they're stealing their cars, their lunch money, their girlfriends. Everything's gone. So, that's bad news. I mean, if that was high school, Team Wa would now shove the Donuts straight into a locker. The red team needs level 10. They need level 10, and we'll find out if they can maybe bring it back. But boy, are they behind now. This is really, really horrible for them. There's the sanctification now. I mean, again, they got the tools of their composition now finally under their belt. Look at this. Eye of Horus is now also in. And Vala, I mean, I would assume Rain of Vengeance at this point, just so you have an additional stun that you can stack. Strafe would, of course, increase the damage output a bit, but phew, that's a little bit crazy. Okay, so there's the second Web Weaver wave. What can they do? We get Strafe. They go for the damage. Less control, but at least they got the damage output. They need kills. I mean, there's no denying it. They need kills. Look at the Gavin experience. Level 12.5 against not even level 11 yet. Are you kidding me? As another play for Lauber, and he makes it out, but Zari had to use the ult to counteract that. There's the cocoon already. Ooh, sanctification used by Lauber. That was bad timing. And that's a kill. That's a double kill. I'm not sure if Lauber just fat-fingered that one or what exactly happened there, but it is an absolute disaster. Now, we're going to take another look at it as they are pushing, but look at this one. So that sanctification was way too early there. Did expect a different engage, I suppose. And then the combo with Ophia was absolutely spot on. That leads to a double kill. And the consequence is a destroyed keep in the mid lane. 10 kills to 1. That's insanity. Again, guys, we are looking at two very, very strong teams. Like, really, really good ones. Team Y is obviously super stacked. They did exceptionally well in the past few tournaments, but it's not like they won everything. They lost against the Hardos multiple times. Now the Donuts are getting murdered by them. They're getting absolutely murdered. I can hear the sirens from here. Someone called the police and they did well. Ambulance isn't needed anymore because I think the patient is going to be dead by the time that it arrives, but at least someone needs to punish the perpetrator here. So this is just nasty. Whatever I expected from this series, it definitely wasn't this. I'm waiting for the Donuts, to show up and just bring this back by getting a few kills in. But it just seems that they are falling apart further and further. Zelia with the Nuborak also. This is insane to begin with. Zelia is coming in. I mean, Masquerade isn't here today for them, so they are just absolutely crushing. And Zelia is... I mean, this guy is just so freaking terrifying. It's not even funny anymore. That kid can just play anything. It just doesn't matter. He was one of the best damage dealers that we had in HGC for a while, then he switched back to support, murdered it there, and now he's playing tank again. It's like, what? The guy is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. 12 kills to 1. 3 levels ahead. 3 levels. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. I thought Storm League matchmaking was garbage, but what is this? I think the Donuts fell asleep after the last one. Sugar coma or something. Like, I don't know. The Donuts, they need to... Oh, careful. The Donuts, oh, what an entomb! Trapping Dino here, allowing them maybe to retreat. 60 talents. They have a 2-level advantage, 2 talent advantage. They're 2 talent ahead. 2 talents. Tyrael is dead, and Ty makes it out for now. Not for long. Wow. Good save by X here, but it's not going to be enough to save the game. The boss has been taken, of course. Is now pushing the top. The keep is likely going to fall. This is insane. This is absolute insane. Yeah, Zelia goes for Zarya all of a sudden. Ty is like, team? And they're chasing him at least a little bit, but now it's not only the keep at the top lane that gets attacked. Guess what? The keep at the bottom of the map is finding itself in a very similar situation as a double catapult is going for it. Yeah, Ty is still running. You're not gonna make it, bro. Don't know what to tell you here. So, yeah, it seems that they can save both of the keeps, but of course they are suffering significantly. We are 4 levels ahead now for Team WoW. 4 levels ahead. Another kill. 16 to 1. What the hell? This is ridiculous. What is this? Euro person, eh? I mean, come on. That is getting crazy. The keep at the bottom of the map, it's gone. Yeah, you're not gonna save this one. So they rely on a single keep. We're 11, 12 minutes into the game, and this is where we're at right now. Azurai gets trapped a bit as Leo is not giving up yet. Swampkorota with a pretty good entomb, trying to force the fight here, but it's not working. Obviously, everything about like fighting on even talents is out the window. You're way too far behind. You have to take shitty battles and just hope for the best, control them well, and take a few kills to close the experience gap. But it's not really working right now. Dino is dancing away. Lauba is eating dirt. Dequaza is moving in, trying to go for another kill. Had to pop his ult, but the pressure is on. 17 kills to 1. Azurai on the run. Leo comes in, and instead of getting the kill against Stukov, he is gonna die. Goes down. Blue team is falling back. They have a full turn available and can then end the game, I suppose. I mean, honestly, right now, they would probably do the Donuts a favor. Just end the suffering here. I don't know. I don't think there's any way to come back into this game. Like, the only thing that I can honestly come up with is some... If the Donuts somehow get a 5-man wipe, and I don't know how that would happen, if they manage to do that, maybe they can make the first step to get back into the game. Because at this point, the death timers are obviously increasing a little bit. So if you get something like a 5-man wipe, you close the experience gap significantly, even though you wouldn't close it completely, obviously, at this point. Duh. But you might be able to use the death timer to take a few structures down. But considering how far behind they are, Team Wa would have really to go AFK on the job for a bit in order to lose this one, I think. Nice save initially against on Zarya, but she is down. Lauba is trying to get away, and they're going for Leo down here too. They're getting chased, and the Web Weavers are already starting to push for the core. Leo is now down, Tyrael is running away, top side is pushing, bottom of the map is already on the core. Ana is now isolated and killed. And that is going to be game. 21 kills to 1. The Donuts, they will have to take a long shower after this one because Team Wa is shitting all over them. And that is just incredible. I have no clue what I expected here, but boy, oh boy, did Team Wa just make a statement. Holy shit. 22 kills to 1 as the blue team moves on to the semifinals.